Hi guys, on this video I'm going to talk to you about setting up a portfolio. But before I get going, I just always want to mention that you can always contact me, always figure out and see what I'm doing on my blog at willterry.blogspot.com. There should be a link right down in the description area. Another thing love to say is I wish that I had time to get to and respond to a lot of the comments that are made on the YouTube videos, but I'm just finding that I'm running out of time, so I apologize if I don't respond to your comment. Okay, so let's talk about setting up a portfolio for freelance illustrators, primarily children's book illustration, but also, if you want to do comics, if you want to get into any kind of editorial work, or any general setting up of your portfolio for art to show to an art director. And one of the questions that I get asked a lot is, do I need a physical portfolio? Will an online portfolio do? My thoughts personally is basically you just want the best showing for your work, and if you're going to be able to get in and see a client, it's always nice to have a physical portfolio to be able to look over with them. However, most of the time people are in a different city than most of the people that they want to work with. Art directors today don't have much time to see you anyway. So I would say you can definitely do it without a physical portfolio. But it is nice to also have one. It's a lot more expensive to develop one and to get a good one. But I'm going to talk today just about the kinds of things that you should have in your portfolio. So the first thing is, and this before I actually get going, the first thing to keep in mind is that an art director or an editor, when they hire you, when they look to hire you to do an assignment, they're putting their neck on the line. They're putting their reputation on the line, because if they hire you and you don't come through for them, it reflects poorly on them. So the number one thing to remember is your portfolio should set them at ease. It should make them feel all warm and fluffy and comfortable inside, that you're going to be able to deliver exactly what's in your portfolio. So if your portfolio is all over the place, if you have a lot of different styles, that's going to create questions, and you have to put yourself into the mindset of an art director, and you have to kind of get in their head and their space and say, if I were hiring me, would I be comfortable looking at my portfolio of what I would be able to deliver? So that's a really important question to be able to answer. As far as different styles go, I think it's fine to have different styles, but I think that you should definitely compartmentalize them. And I think in a physical portfolio, personally, and this is more of a personal opinion, you're going to get a different opinion from other people, but I would only show one style in a physical portfolio at a time. I would say this is the style that I really want to do, and I would flesh out my portfolio with those kinds of images. I really feel like having multiple styles is going to confuse them. However, on a website, you can organize it such that you can really compartmentalize it and keep it really separate. So I think on a website, it might be fine. I'm definitely come from the one style camp, though. I think it's good to be known for something. If you look at different actors, if you know the actor Steve Buscemi, who's one of my favorites, you pretty much know what you're going to get. You're not going to get the lead. You're not going to get, usually you're not going to get the villain. You're going to get the goofy guy. And I think that setting up a portfolio, well, my son's ride is here. So that's the first horn that I've heard honk all day. But you make a video and you'll get horns honking and fireworks and all good stuff. Okay, so let's go through this list. And these are things that I think that you should put in your portfolio. Things that I think will make a really good portfolio for you. So number one is consistency of work. And we kind of already talked about that a little bit. Consistency of style, consistency of work. The second one is consistency of character. So, in other words, being able to show the same character in a sequence. This is especially important if you want to get comic book work, or if you want to get children's book work, to be able to show a certain character repeating in different poses, in different settings. but showing that same character. Okay, the third thing that I would say that editors are looking for, especially with children's books, is kids. Now, if you're looking to do more young adult stuff, it would be young adults, 10, 12, 13. And if you're doing older kids books, then older stuff. If you're doing comics, it needs to be appropriate to the type of work that you want to do. But it's amazing how many people want to do children's books, and then I see their portfolio and there's no children in them. And so that's probably one of the biggest things that an editor is going to be looking at. It's very important that the characters in your portfolio, and I see this a lot when I review portfolios, is not having the characters looking directly at the viewer. So what I'll see a lot of times is I'll see a portfolio and I'll see characters that are just looking out at the camera or looking out at the viewer, and the viewer is not part of what's going on in the scene. So it's a scene of a kid that's interacting with another kid, or a kid that's interacting with the environment or with an animal, but they're looking out at the viewer. And the reason I know the reason for that is because the artist found reference of people looking at the camera, because that's what you can mostly find. If you go online, you'll mostly find on doing image searches of people looking at the camera, because that's what we do when a picture's being taken. So you need to make sure that you're getting your own reference and that it's not people looking at the camera. Okay, another thing, and this is again, this list is to round out your portfolio, to make your portfolio really marketable to most of the people that you're trying to get a job with, or an assignment with. To show different races. So the main ones would be Caucasian, Hispanic, Black, and Asian. And so I would definitely try to show those different races. Um, what's another one? Another one is gender. You'd be surprised at how many portfolios I see where you'll see a person that has just rendered a lot of girls or a lot of guys, but not a mix of both. So make sure that you're including different genders. Yes, have animals, but don't have. I wouldn't put random pictures of animals that aren't really that aren't really don't really look like they're part of an illustration. So what I'll see sometimes, and I'm just kind of like in my mind, I'm recalling different portfolios that I've seen in different images, and what I see a lot of times are um, people have done a few illustrations, but then they've also rendered a picture of a rabbit or something like that that's eating grass, and it's not really an illustration, it's more of a fine art piece. Don't put those in there. The art director is going to look at your portfolio for an amazingly short amount of time. They can look at a portfolio and click through images 5 or 10 seconds and know whether they're interested or not. So any image that's not an illustration or the type of work that they do is going to take them out of interest in your work. So take that stuff out. Don't put that stuff in. I would definitely render different objects to be able to show that you can take reference, and that you can render, a telephone, and a telephone from a certain period maybe. That you can render cars, that you can render different furnishings for inside of a house, like lamps and furniture and things like that. So I would definitely put objects in there. Make sure. Now, with this list, I'm not saying that each image should have each one of these. Each you can hit multiple things with one image. So you can hit 5 or 6 or even 10 of these in one image. But the whole idea is that you're covering all this, so you're not leaving any gaps in your portfolio, because art directors and editors are often very literal too. If they don't see you doing it in your portfolio, often they won't think that you can do it. So you have to demonstrate that you can do it. Another thing that I would do is show different times of day. So I would show, evening and morning are kind of the same. So I would show like an evening piece or a morning piece, and then a night, and then a midday, a nice bright sunny day. You might even want to throw in something that's like overcast, but having different moods or different times of day, to show that you can render that. Because again, if you don't show it in your portfolio, a lot of times they think that you can't do it. And then definitely show interiors and exteriors. So inside of a living room or a bedroom, or a garage, and then definitely exteriors, outsides, mountains, and grass and rolling hills and trees and forests and different things like that. Again, incorporated into your different illustrations. Um, so let's see, where does that leave us? Oh, another one would be the period, to show that you can go back in time and do something from the 50s or do something from the turn of the century. And then, because a lot of times what will happen is you'll see someone that does a period piece and they get the dresses right or the costumes right, excuse me, but they'll put modern cars in there or they'll get the architecture wrong. And so there are a lot of illustrations and a lot of assignments that will rely on someone um, doing something from a different time period. And if you can demonstrate that you can do that, it makes you more marketable. Um, Another one would be to make sure that the images that you put in your portfolio look like assignments. Okay, so you definitely want, if you aren't getting assignments, illustrate things that have already been done. Take existing articles from, if you want to do children's book, take stuff out of Ranger Rick or take stuff out of existing magazines or children's publications or online publications that have illustrations and do them in your own style so it looks like you have done work. That's really important to make sure that your portfolio doesn't look like it's just a bunch of this and that, but it actually looks like um, work that you've done. It doesn't matter that you've been paid for it. What it matters is that the art director looks at it and can see them using it in their work. Probably the biggest mistake that people make is putting too many images in their portfolio. 10 really strong images is way better than 20 where you have 10 really strong images and 10 not as good images. The 10 not as good images are what you're going to be remembered for. You will always be remembered for your worst. Okay, it's like if you go to a party and you were the one who spilled the punch bowl on the carpet. You won't be remembered for the fact that you helped bring in all kinds of stuff and that you helped cook things for the party and that you were really nice and all that. And I forgot to silence my phone. Sorry. You'll be remembered as the person that definitely sunk the punch bowl, right? So let me just silence this. Sorry about that. And I think I'm almost done. Oh, another thing that you might want to put in your portfolio is make sure that you do some black and white and color. Sometimes people are really good with black and white. They can't do color. Some people are really good with color and they're really bad with value. So that when they go to the black and white work, it falls apart. If you can do both, you should show that you can do both. Again, art directors often won't hire you if they think that you can't do one or the other. So those are kind of my tips for setting up a portfolio. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope it'll help you out. And thanks for coming to my channel. And again, remember my blog. You can always go to my blog. You can always contact me. I have my email there at my blog. If you want to ask a question or send me a comment at willterry.blogspot.com. And thanks a lot for watching.